What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back again with another unboxing and review, and today we finally have the Joker 2-pack here to unbox for you guys. Now I am going to warn you straight away, this is going to be a longer video, so I do recommend you grab something like a Coke, a beer, a cup of tea, whatever floats your boat, because we're going to be here for a little while. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into this unboxing. Alright guys, and here we are. Now first things first, this box is so huge that I didn't have an appropriate table surface, so we are unboxing this on the floor, which is pretty brave, but don't worry, I have hoovered and this area is nice and clean. So as you can see, we do have Arthur Fleck at the top, as well as Joker Premium Edition down here, and lots of nice kind of scripture from his notebook throughout the box as well, which is really quite nice to see. And then we can kind of see a silhouette of the Joker on the box as well. It's a really, really beautiful art box, guys. Now, if we do flip this round, and I try and do this as nicely as possible, you can see the tray sticking out there. We do again have Joker on the side, and then kind of all the kind of note scripture. You'll notice this throughout the box. It kind of stays throughout. And then one of the coolest features, the instructions have just fallen out, is on the back here. So let's see if I can get this on camera. So as you tilt it, you get the Joker's face with Arthur Fleck, and then it goes into this kind of silhouette here, which is absolutely beautiful. At the top here, you can see RNA008, which is a reference to their kind of, not limiting system, but their kind of tier system they do for these figures. So this is one of the highest tier figures. And then down here, you have Arthur Fleck, and then it says, "Can you introduce me as Joker?" which is one of his brilliant lines from the film. But let's try and open this up. Whoosh, there we go. Now this thing also weighs probably about 5 kilos, if not slightly more. So it is a hefty box. But we do slip it on open, like so. This would be where the instructions normally are. And we do get our awesome kind of, what do you call this, a movie ticket, which I love these. This is like an extra thing to collect, as well as the figure itself. So that's really cool. But there we go. That is our first layer. So we do have the two bodies, and I'm gonna unbox some of this on camera now, kind of raw, but the all the extra little bits and pieces we'll probably check out in the accessory portion of this video. But first things first, let's check out a hand. And here we go. This is one of the hands, and guys, this looks absolutely phenomenal. I really do love it when you get these seamless forearms. I really think that creates a level of kind of realness to these figures that you don't always see. So that is really nice to see here. Really well detailed as well. They don't spare any expense on these. These hands, I wouldn't say you would need custom hands with this like you do on some of the figures. See if we can get them real close. So you can kind of see some like old paint on the fingernails, the creasing of the skin, all the kind of skin textures and details. Really phenomenal on all of these hands, I'm sure. We do then get a lot of different accessories, starting with this awesome piece, which is his notebook. It says "To Lee" from Joaquin down here. I can't quite see what that says, but that's quite cool. But it is fully written, and if you had a magnifying glass, you could probably read what this says. But yeah, all the way through, it does have some kind of disturbing drawings and such throughout, and it's got like a real metal binder as well, which is really, really awesome. So you do have that. There is this here, which I haven't sussed out what this is yet because I haven't looked at the instructions, but looks like kind of a mirror maybe, but then it's detailed on the back. Almost looks like something from Star Wars, so we'll have to see what that is later on. You do of course get his bottles of medication that he obviously needs, a couple of open ones, and then you get some full ones with the label as well. So this is the full one. You can kind of see pills inside there, and then you get a couple of open ones as well. These are really nice. I do like these. Never thought I'd have 1/6 scale pill bottles, but there we are. Beyond this, we have of course his bunch of magic flowers, like so, which are all sculpted, but they're sculpted really nicely in a way that they look like a fabric, which is really, really nice to see. And you've got his kind of wand out here as well. So it's interesting, these. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we can use this accessory when we pose him up. Probably be as Arthur Fleck, because we don't have the clown one from the hospital scene, which is unfortunate, but it is just the 2-pack that we have. So that's all good. We of course have a Joker mask, if I can get this out. God, they love their stuff here. There we go, Joker mask with some extra rooted hair on the sides here. This is really awesome. I do like this. This is nicely done. It even has some elastic, so you can put it on one of the sculpts. Probably, I probably wouldn't do that because this is kind of a hard shell plastic, so I'd just be too worried about scratching up the sculpt work. But that is a really nice accessory. Next up, we of course have his, there we go, his pew pew, his revolver that he uses. I think this is a snub nose revolver. I'm terrible with weapons, guys. Let me know what kind of gun this is down below. It doesn't do a whole much, but it does, you can make the chamber rotate. Mine has a bit of a sticky feel to it, but it's really nicely painted. It is metal as well, so this is die cast, so that is worth noticing. So it has a bit of weight to it, and it looks super realistic. Next, of course, we do have his brown paper bag that is pretty actually awesome. It is literally just a miniature brown paper bag. I really dig this. You can put his accessories and stuff in there. It does, has it got something in the bottom? Nah, that's just to help it kind of hold shape. It has like a card at the bottom to help maintain the shape of the bottom. But you can put a few things in here, obviously like his wand and stuff like that. So you can fill that out. That's really, really nice. I can't believe I'm saying that's really nice about a plain brown paper bag. One thing I did miss, you do get this photo of the Waynes as well that he carries around, because obviously at this point he believes that Thomas Wayne is his dad, so that's interesting. We also have this little item here, which I'm not 100% sure what this is, so we'll check the instructions as we go. This is his kind of leg clamp that we'll use on the base as well. So this is not an accessory as such, more of a utility item, shall we say. So this is a tiny, tiny little cigarette that we can obviously use on the Joker version of Arthur Fleck, which is really nicely done. It's got good sculpt work up here on the ash as well, because it almost looks like it is burning through the embers. So this is a nice little accessory, but it's absolutely tiny, so be careful that you don't lose this one, guys. We also get this little pen, this kind of board marker type pen, which is nice as well. So this is something that he can use to write in his book. I can't remember the specific scene or reason this is in here. So guys, I should have watched the film again before opening this. I really should have. It's been probably a good year since I've watched this movie, but we do get a pen and it is nicely sculpted and done. And then of course we do get his little clown nose as well that we can put on the Arthur Fleck sculpt. Alright guys, I believe that's it for the accessories now. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out the first body, which is the Joker body. So it does come headless, as with all of these, because of course our rooted sculpts are in their protective boxes. And first impressions, I am digging this. I think this is pretty damn good. Tailoring from Inart, superb as always. I've seen some people mention about the lapels. I don't mind these too much. They don't seem too large for me. I don't know, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? They are wired, so you can kind of futz around with them if you want. You can probably even tuck them in a little bit so they don't look as flared out. But this is a really nice suit. Good bend on the knees there as well, pretty much a double bend, so that's good for posability. I would say though, be careful you don't catch the fabric in the joints of the knees, because I do feel like you could probably do that quite easily. Ankle has good side to side, up and down, so you get a lot of posability out of this guy. He does have a double bend on the elbow, of course, and you can get his arms up fairly high as well. So you can do more or less anything you'd like with this guy. Good chest swivel as well, so that's really nice. And of course he does have the collapsible, you hear that? The collapsible hamstrings, so that he can sit on his chair, and it can look natural as well. So really do dig that Arthur Fleck body, Arthur Fleck Joker body. But let's put him to the side and check out Arthur Fleck. Now, this was a sleeper hit for me from what I've seen so far. And first impressions of the body, I think it's fantastic. Now, the tailoring on this hits me harder than the tailoring on the Joker. This looks absolutely fantastic. Just considering he has this jacket on, which is beautifully tailored, by the way. It looks like a real shrunken down jacket. They've done amazing work on this. Pockets are usable as well. It's a nice material. He has his hood, which isn't wired, so it just kind of flops there, which is quite nice. You can obviously see his magnetic neck connector here. And posability, still pretty strong in this jacket, guys. So that's really nice to see. The joints feel nice and solid. You can still get that double bend there as well. He can go all the way pretty much up. So that's insane to see. He has got that kind of ab crunch as well. And he even has the clicky hamstrings so he can be seated. And it's just a beautiful figure. The tailoring on the trousers, the kind of jacket, jumpery cardigan that he has underneath is really nicely done. I like the shirt. Trousers are really well done. He does, of course, have nice bright white socks on as well. Bit of a loose thread there, but that's fine. This is phenomenal. All right, guys, so that is our first tray done. The rest of these are different hands, which we will take up a look at in a little bit. Oh, except, what is this that I've missed down here? Let's have a quick cheeky ganders at this. Ah, of course, this is his wand before the flowers. So there we go. Always missed that off. That's nice. It's a bit of plastic with silver on each end. There's not much they can do to make this look phenomenal. It just looks like a plastic magic wand. Right then, so after all that, we do lift off this tray like so, which we'll put to the side. Okay, cool. So, in fact, we need to lift off this whole tray like that. There we are. And then under this are parts of our bases. All right, nice. So let's check out the TV show set. This is awesome. This is really, really cool. It looks phenomenal. I mean, look, it's plastic, which sometimes I do wish they'd have kept to the real wood materials, real metal and stuff. And okay, they do still have real metal, but the Joker, the first Joker they did, it had that wooden flooring. Phenomenal. I wish they kind of kept that throughout, but they've done a really good job on making this look like wood. And I imagine as it's plastic, it's less perishable as well, which is nice. But the background through the window is super realistic looking. This looks really, really nice. Not really anything on the back at all. You can see my sweaty hands there. It's just plain, but obviously we don't see that. So this looks fantastic, and I look forward to putting this together. On the back of that, we have the curtains and some silica gel. We do have the curtains as well that come nicely preserved on this card, so they don't get all bunched and screwed up. Yeah, that's quite nice. These look good. I do wonder if I'm going to use these. I suppose I kind of have to make it accurate, but I really like that backdrop. But these do look nice, and they're super colourful, which will help it pop. Right, this I believe is the stairs, the famous stairs, which is a location I'd love to visit one day if I ever head down to the States again. But there we go. This is the backdrop to the stairs. I'm glad this isn't cheap cardboard. It's an actual solid piece, as you can see there, and it looks pretty good in hand. I think they did a good job kind of creating that effect of it kind of going off into the distance. So I do like this. The paintwork's pretty nicely done as well. It looks like it should look. These look like real metal bits. From further away it will look better, and I imagine with the other part of the base it will look better as well. But yeah, quite happy with this. Those sweaty hands again, but quite happy with how this looks. So far, guys, I will say this is probably the most premium unboxing experience I have ever had the pleasure of experiencing. But there we go, we're on to our final tray. Let's continue on with the bases. So we do have this one here. This is the kind of Joker base here, which lights up. It does take, I believe it's 3 AAA batteries. Yep, there you go. It's 3 AAA batteries, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to see this as USB-C, but I do have some plug-in batteries, so I can keep this lit up, which I'll probably utilize because it is 3 AA batteries that I have. So that is a godsend. Guys, check on Amazon. You can get wired batteries that will kind of keep this lit up for you. On the top here, we can obviously peel this off like so, and it's going to reveal the rest of the base, which is a nice glossy look. I'm going to leave that for now, and I'll peel that off. Actually, do you know what? No, let's do it. Let's do it on camera. And look at that gloss. That's really satisfying to do, actually. It's like peeling it off of your mobile phone. So there we are. That is that nice glossy front. So you need to be careful that I don't scratch that. You can see myself there. Yeah, it's like a mirror. That's really nice. I do like that. And this, from what I've seen, looks absolutely phenomenal when it's all lit up. All right, next we do have this section here, which I believe is the, I want to say it's like the carpet section that you put the chair on, that goes onto the other part of the base that we had just now. And then you pop the chair on this bit. And it actually is like a carpety material in here, which is really awesome to see. So I do like that. The rest is plastic, but it does what it's meant to do. Moving on, this is the other part of the base. And there it is, guys. So that is the other part of the base here. Now, I will say, when I first checked this out, this bit here was detached from mine, which I'm not sure if it's meant to be or not. I'd have thought this is a kind of a non-scratch base, but the glue was coming undone a little bit on here. Once I pop it down, it's fine, and I'll probably leave it on. However, it does peel off, and it has got molding and sculpture there, so I don't know if that's meant to be on or off. Guys, let me know in the comments below if it's meant to be on. A bit disappointing that it kind of peels off, but does it damage the overall thing? Probably not really. But here we can see, obviously, it does say Joker here, which I can kind of take that or leave it. It doesn't bother me too much that it's there, but it would have been nice to leave it off. Sculpt work on this is really nice. There are certain elements that are a bit soft, like this bit of trash here is a little bit soft, and this bit kind of here as well. This over here is where we reveal where that kind of ankle peg is going to go. I'm probably going to avoid using that. I feel like I can, you know, because there's no magnets in this at all. So I feel like I could probably pose him and balance him well enough that I don't need to worry about it. We don't have earthquakes in this part of the world, so we should be fine. Obviously, this is where the railings go in, which I believe are in here somewhere. Let's put this to the side. This is the chair. So this is part of the chair, and then this is the other part of the chair. So these are the two parts. Now, these are like some sort of ceramic kind of mold here, but they look like real fabric and they look really nice. Now, this is kind of just a friction fit. As you can see, it's not magneted in, which I kind of probably wish there was a magnet connecting these two, to be completely honest with you, but it does look really nice on here, and it's pretty heavy as well, to be honest, guys. And then of course you do get its base. So that's the chair base here. This bit is actually metal, which is good because this is quite heavy. I would imagine it would need it, and it just slots in to the bottom like so. Nice and easy, and it can kind of spin around and do its thing, and it looks pretty good. Right, over here I think we have more of the stage base. I'm going to call it the stage base. So let's open this. This looks like the lights. There we go. That is the lights that go on the stage. The one thing I'd have wanted on this is that these lit up. They don't. They do look really realistic, almost like they would light up, but I don't. I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't. If they do, I will do a segment later on in the review, kind of showcasing that they do, but I don't think that they light up. But this is really nice, and I think this really kind of pulls together that base. These are going to be the railings for the other base, the Alpha Fleck base, the stairs base. So that is the railings for those. They are plastic, they're not metal, so be careful with them. Probably a little bit breakable, but I don't think there's any need to really worry, and hopefully they peg in nicely. We'll find out later. What is behind door number 1? It is Arthur Fleck himself. And initially I wasn't a fan of the newer kind of bases. I preferred the round ones, and I like the metal kind of look in here. I thought that was a bit more premium looking, but in terms of practicality, these are definitely better. And guys, there is our Afterfleck head sculpt. And like I said, this is a bit of the sleeper hit in this set for me. This sculpt is absolutely phenomenal. Now, a lot of time when we see kind of 1/6 scale sculpts, you lose a lot of the details in the skin tone and texture. Not so much the case with this. I can see it, and we'll check it out on my DSLR later, but all the skin texture throughout the face is really, really phenomenal, and you can see it with the naked eye, which I really like as well. The eyes look alive, even with, because they've got that kind of eyeshadow, creates so much depth and detail, all the lines around the face, the mouth as well. This is an absolutely incredible sculpt. It looks like my rooted hair for me is fine. Interestingly, this bit is actually plastered onto the sculpt. It's not separate, so if that's good or not, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I'd have to see if other people's are like that. It'd be interesting to know. It doesn't bother me too much, and I'm going to assume it should be that way. But guys, phenomenal sculpt. And now sculpt number 2. We know what this will be. There is only one other sculpt it could be. It is, of course, the Joker sculpt. So let's be gentle, open this up. There we are. And swoosh, there is our Joker sculpt. And do you know what? This also looks equally fantastic. Look at that, guys. Again, like all the paint texture, like the skin texture, kind of shows up a little bit more because of the white paint on this. The paint works really nice. The eyes, again, are really good. I like how the hair looks on mine. It has that slicked back look, which is what I think of when I think of him as the Joker. I think this just looks absolutely incredible. I like the way they do the neckline as well. So yeah, you don't have as much movement throughout the head. So it's a bit more limited in that respect, but you get that nice seamless neck that just kind of brings that realism to the next level, which is why you buy Inart products, right? But this looks absolutely incredible. Really happy with how the rooted hair on mine has turned out. Obviously we'll get these on the body and take a more detailed look shortly, but so far, so good. Okay, so we do have this part of the stairs if I decide not to use that bit for the base. So that's pretty cool. You can cover that up. I like that they've included that. Right, guys, that is all of the accessories and the entire unboxing experience, the most premium experience of my collecting journey so far. But guys, without further ado, this is always already a long chunk of this video, so we're going to whack on the heads onto the bodies, get the bases set up, do some poses, and give you some in-depth looks at the details and, of course, my final thoughts. Catch you in a sec. Alright, so first of all, I wanted to show you what the bases look like when they've been fully put together. So this is, of course, the Afterfleck base with the stairs, the iconic stairs, and I really like this base. I think they did a really good job creating that distance effect, and I really like the Joker name across the bottom. I think that's a unique way to do a name plaque for this, so I do like seeing that. Now, here are the curtains on the studio base, and here's the studio base without the curtains, which is definitely my preferred look. Why cover up those beautiful windows? Also, the curtains, you can't open them when they're on, so I find that quite frustrating. Here are both figures standing side by side, and guys, they look phenomenal. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at them one by one, starting off with that Afterfleck figure, because for me, it's the one I'm most excited to check out. And there he is in our first pose of the day. And guys, I love what I'm seeing right here. The fact you can pull off a really natural looking hands in pockets pose is like, I won't say a dream come true, but it is really nice to see. And there's so many awesome details on this figure. They really spared no expense. So let's take a quick look at that head sculpt. That I'm going to say is a 9, maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. That is a close to perfect head sculpt, I would say. He could be slightly more gaunt, but that's about my only complaint. I also feel like the rooted hair came out really nice on mine. In fact, the only actual complaint I have about the rooted hair is kind of messing around with the eyes. The magnet on the back of the head is so strong that you're almost in danger of ripping out a little bit of hair. In fact, I almost did the first time I swapped around those eyes. So do be careful with that. And I do think that's something they should figure out for future releases. Now, moving on to tailoring, and beyond rooted hair, tailoring is something that Inart really excels at. Everything on here, from the trousers to his cardigan, and especially that jacket, really blows my mind. The fact that they've added all these layers on this figure, yet it looks realistic, is incredible. And the fact that you can actually use the pockets and they're not fake and they look pretty good is really impressive on this one as well. Now, I wanted to show you that you can pull off this kind of walking down the steps pose, but one negative is that it's not easy to do. If anything, I feel like the steps needed to be a bit wider so he'd have a slightly easier foot purchase so that you could hold this in position. Even with the foot clamp, this is quite hard to do and he's still precariously balanced. However, as I said earlier, I love the bag accessory, and the fact that you can include all the accessories in there as well is a really nice touch. And now, of course, we're moving on to Joker himself, and I wanted to start off by showing how good he looks in a seated pose. Those like collapsible hamstrings are fantastic, and they really do make it easier to pull this pose off and make it look natural. The head sculpt as well, for me, I would say again a 9.5 out of 10. He could be a bit more gaunt, the jaw could be slightly more square, but other than that, really happy with it. The paint apps, the eyes, everything about this. The rooted hair is really nice again on mine. Similar to the other one, the magnet on the back of the head to access the eyes is really strong, so be careful when you try to access that. That is definitely something that Inart need to work on. They have weak feet magnets for the bases, yet the magnet they use on the back of the head with the delicate rooted hair is way too strong, so just something to be cautious of. And just like the Arthur Fleck figure, the tailoring on this is fantastic. However, there is a bit of creasing already that I'm seeing, especially in his trousers here, from the seating pose and various different poses that I've had him in. So hopefully they will iron out in time. But the suit looks absolutely incredible. Again, you've got multiple layers here. The stitching work, the lapels, I think look pretty good. They kind of work with the design of the suit. And the buttons you have on this, look, it looks like a suit shrunk down with a shrink ray. That's how good I think this tailoring looks. And when it comes to posing, this guy is no slouch as well. You can pull off almost anything that you might want with him, like raising his gun here, which is really impressive considering the fact he's wearing a suit, arms up to the side, addressing the crowd, really emotional, and you can create a lot of depth and emotion with this. And here, of course, he is bowing. Guys, this is a really well made figure, and I couldn't be happier with it. Alright guys, so that's about bringing us to the end of the review, but we have one more thing left to do. We of course have to rate this 2-pack. I'm gonna honestly give this 2-pack a 9 out of 10. The two figures on their own, absolutely phenomenal. The two bases as well create so much depth and so much realism to them. I couldn't complain at all. There are some letdowns, of course. The suit on the Joker is creasing a little bit. The base on the Arthur Fleck, the stairs could be wider to kind of accept. And the scariest thing is how strong the magnets are on the back of the head. Seems strange to complain about strong magnets, especially with an Inart figure, but I do think on the back of the head is where you don't want them so strong that when you're trying to remove the back of the head, you're almost ripping out some hair. So guys, that is the end of our review. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in a future video. Jim Collector, out.